Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, and the mic is just getting warmed up as the Guardian of the Blue Paint turned writer is about to enlighten us. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. For this week's show, the Hockey Writers Inc. featuring the great Pearlo Wisdom. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. And I'm your host tonight, SteelFlyers. Lance is on vacation, but let me tell you something here, folks. Uh, we had one of the best stand in for the great Lance Green. That's right, folks. We've welcomed in the great Pearlo Wisdom. How you doing, man? How you doing? How is the frolic?
Oh, it's immense, dude. Having just playoffs happening. That last game, woo! That was
Oh man.
incredible. Just doing that
Hey,
on off the wall hockey. Oh man, that was one of the best games I've seen, man.
that was
Classic.
so
It's going to
awesome.
be a
Just
beautiful series. It's going to be
it
amazing.
was. It was. And I tell you what, listen, folks, if you're not checking out off the wall hockey, you guys are missing out for real.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Perlo was the color and analyst for Game One of the series, and on the off the wall hockey show. And I'll tell you what, man, you guys were rocking it, doing a great job, man. You guys had over 11,000 people
Yeah.
check that out. So yeah, buddy,
Crazy.
that's
Thanks.
crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. So awesome sauce. Also, listen, you folks got to be checking out the great Pearl of Wisdom and all of the great pearls
Hmm.
and follow the frolic, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
got to be following the frolic, man. Check
Yeah.
him out. We'll have all the links down there for y'all. And also, you can check him out as part of the SteelFlyers All Sports Network at steelflyers.com/ Pearlo Wisdom. That's right,
Yeah.
man. Got to be checking that out for well as too. So, all right. So, since Lance is a little bit on vacation,
Uh-huh.
okay. We're having some weather come through.
Yeah.
So we just had a little thunder roll through there. So we may or may not get this one in.
We'll get it
So
in.
anyway, we've got Lance's on vacation. We had the great Pearl of Wisdom step in. Listen, folks, you know what we're going to be talking about. You know why we're here. You know what this is going to be about. There's only been one story going on for the Philadelphia Flyers for the last 2 weeks, and that is who's going to be the next fracking coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. And right now, currently, folks, it's appearing that the Flyers are going to hire their 23rd coach here very soon, and it's looking like that coach is going to be none other than John Tortorella. Is going to be that coach. The announcement is expected probably in the next 24 or 48 hours of this recording. There has not been a official announcement of this deal. The offer has been made, and it's been made public, I guess, that what his offer is: 4 years, $4 million
Yeah.
per, right? So, Perlo, what is your take on Torts being hired as the coach of the Flyers?
Well, first of all, I kind of figured it. That's kind of who I thought it was going to be. Uh, I mean, I mentioned this before last summer on the broadcast. I thought if you're going to do what they're doing, him or Barry Trotz, which I didn't think Barry, I think Barry Trotz was just using Philadelphia as leverage for his next contract for Winnipeg. I don't
Yeah.
think he was ever serious about coming to Philadelphia. Apparently, they offered him $7 million a year, Barry Trotz. Which, if that is true, I wonder what Tortorella's thinking. But now, if you're going to do what they're doing, which is they're not going to rebuild, they're just going to keep on banging the door, head at the door. Tortorella took the Columbus Blue Jackets to the first round and beat Tampa. beat Toronto when they had no business doing so. And he can do it with this team as well, I'm sure. But it's just, is that what you want? That's what you want? You just want to make the playoffs, lose in the first round, make the playoffs, lose in the first round. That's apparently what they want, because I don't care how, you and I may have a different idea. I think Tortorella's track record is fantastic. But I don't care if it was Trotz or who you want to pick here or put in here. This team ain't winning the cup. And that has nothing to do with the coach. That has to do with the players that they have on the team. And it's not going to change without, as far as I can see, a complete, a serious rebuild of this whole core. And until that, if that doesn't happen, then just be happy you make the playoffs and rah.
And see, that's what it's going to end up being is see, this is a hire, a Tortorella or a Torts, Barry Trotz or John Tortorella is a hire for a team that is one or two pieces away from being in contention. Right?
You would hope.
I mean, you would look at those coaches and go, they're quote unquote doing their due diligence to interview all of the quote unquote best candidates for the job, and if it's rumored that they offered him $7 million and Barry Trotz has not taken that, and the fact that Tortorella's only signing for $4 million. The fact that this team thinks, or that this ownership thinks, or this management thinks that this team is one or two pieces away from contention, that is the part right there that just has me laughing in the aisles. It just has me rolling around on the floor laughing. Like, are you guys watching the same team?
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with you there, but
it goes back to, it doesn't matter who you bring in as the coach. If you think that this team is one or two spots away from being in contention, you bring in Tortorella. Yes, I agree with you. You're hearing this on record that I'm agreeing with Pearlo Wisdom about Tortorella or Barry Trotz being the coach to come in here to coach the Philadelphia Flyers if all they are is one or two pieces away, and they are able to obtain those one or two pieces within the next year or two.
Yeah.
But I don't see that as the case.
Yeah. It's I don't disagree with you at all.
They have the 5th overall pick this year in the draft. It is now the 16th of June upon this recording, and there still is not a coach.
Well, there is now a coach, but
he hasn't made, there hasn't been an announcement. There's nobody standing at the podium right now going, yes, please, thanks to Philadelphia, we'll get started and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. There hasn't been that yet. So until that's official.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really all that big of a deal, because especially you took the right guy with Tortorella to be put in this spot, because he doesn't care. He that's the one thing, like Tortorella believes he can win a cup with this team right
See,
now.
now
He's so stubborn that's why I said I thought it was going to be Tortorella.
Yeah.
Because Tortorella is the type of guy that would never think that he could take some AHL team to make it to the NHL, to the Stanley Cup.
See, I didn't say the full thing that I wrote down here, because I called him John Ego Tortorella.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because that's what, I've seen so many tweets and so many posts and so many things about different people saying, well, you know what, the Flyers are probably not going to be that good, but the press conferences are sure going to be interesting. And you know what? I'm not watching this team for interesting press conferences.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's just people trying to take a positive out of the whole situation.
I don't care if this guy is going to hold players accountable. right? It's been needed for this team for the last 15 years, and it hasn't been here. And you're gonna now bring somebody in? Okay, great. So, who's going to be held accountable on this team?
Well, I'll tell you what I personally, if you're personally, there's some things that I think can go well because of Tortorella. And maybe this team might do it better than we could possibly think.
So that's one of my questions. Give me 3 good reasons why this is a good hire.
Okay, I'll try. I'll say 3 good reasons why this team could do a lot better than even you and I think with Tortorella.
All right. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Okay. I'll take Tortorella out and roast on that.
Tortorella has got amazing results from goaltenders in every team he's been on. One of which isn't really up to him because that was Lundqvist. And the Rangers, like any coach, that has nothing to do with
coaching. That's like you can only dream to get Lundqvist as your goalie.
But look at Columbus. Korpisalo was garbage after he left, was garbage before Tortorella was there, and he actually made him into a decent goaltender. We already know about Bobrovsky as soon as he left there, right? In Tampa Bay, Happy Bulin turned into the Bulin wall under his, and then when he went on past that and didn't do all that great. He did okay, but he never did as great as he was in Tampa Bay. So there's a really good chance he could do something with Carter Hart here, that he seems to be a bit of a goalie whisperer. And a lot of that has to do with his systems that he put in place. There's no doubt about it. This team, the one good thing about it that with him is this team doesn't really have a lot of pure skill, which works really well with him because he has a system that pure skill players don't like. So,
well, they don't play real well, in his pure, Yeah, that's a good way to put that one, Pearlo. I like that.
He's get your butt back. Like all of the things you hear fans say they want their players to be, Tortorella builds players to be. And if they don't like it, they usually leave and then don't do very well when he leaves. I think James Van Riemsdyk is this is it. This is his career right here with Tortorella. Either he's going to become something we haven't seen, or he's going to be gone within half the season. Like Tortorella is going to take a guy like James Van Riemsdyk and he's going to push him to his brink. That's what I think.
Okay, all right. So that's 2 things that you said that could be right now. So I'm not trying to look. I completely had to take a long think about this before we did this show. Okay, because you know what I feel about this man. Okay, and how I feel about him on many different levels. That in regards to coaching, in regards to everything that he's about.
Well,
okay,
I'm not totally I know you're not a fan of his maybe personality or something, but I don't totally know.
But what I'm trying to get at here is this: the man has won a Jack Adams Award. He is one of him and Laviolette are the 2 winningest American-born coaches. Period. He has a Stanley Cup. Okay, he has a Jack Adams Award. You don't get a Jack Adams Award for being a crap coach. Okay, I've never said that Tortorella was not a good coach. Never have I ever said that. Okay, I think his ego is the problem. Okay, and I think he thinks more about himself than he does about other things, but that's for something completely different. Okay, I'm trying really hard to be good about this. Okay, I really am, because I really think that this shows that the Flyers organization really has no clue about what they're doing, because they need to do a complete rebuild, and you need to bring in a coach that can do that kind of thing. And Tortorella is not that kind of coach.
No, he's definitely not. I agree with you 100%.
Right.
No doubt about it. I agree with you there totally. That's what they really needed more than anything. I would have rather them have hired Quinn, who was building up, who's not getting anywhere near enough credit for how much he built up those players for the Rangers. To tell you the honest truth. In fact, I think Quinn is a great coach that was put in a bad situation in New York. And people say, what do you mean bad situation? Yeah. Well, first of all, he was playing with a bunch of kids. They were telling him that he had to coach Kako at 18 years old. These kids didn't go down to the AHL like they're supposed to. I don't know why they did it that way. I love Gorton, but I would love to know what his philosophy was of playing these kids so young. Luckily for them, they have a beast like Lafreniere. They could have destroyed his career as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see exactly what you mean.
And if it wasn't for Quinn, I think they could have destroyed his career. Quinn is such a great coach. That's the guy I would have took.
Yeah, because this year he played with a line that I think he played really well this year. Lafreniere. I mean, he had kind of a shaky start, but I think he rounded out pretty good there, especially during the playoffs. You know what I mean? I thought Lafreniere played really well during the playoffs. So anyway,
he's such a beast. He got over that.
That's what I mean.
He got over that.
Okay. All right. So now
I think Quinn would have been a great if Quinn.
I agree.
But only if they were going to do what you said.
Rebuild
and rebuild it. Yeah,
right. So. Okay. So JVR is going to have to answer the bell. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to have to answer the bell. Travis Konechny going to have to be one of them.
We're going to find out the character.
We are. That's okay. So that is the third good thing that's going to happen about this hire is that we're going to hopefully weed out all the wannabes and thought they're gonna be's and sort of kind of on the line's gonna be. Look, there's too many players that are on the fringe as far as I'm concerned for the Flyers and the Phantoms and the whole organization in itself. Too many players on the fringe, and you need to cut ties now because you've spent how many years with these guys and they haven't amounted to beans. Mm-hmm. Right? It's time to get what you can and cut.
If you want to know what to like, people talk about how he's only got a 2-3 year window, in which the joke is that the 4-year for $16 million contract is basically like $8 million a year because he only in the last 2 years. But I don't think that is. And if you want to, who was the guy that was voting for him the most on this
Cam
team?
Atkinson.
Right. It is. I think it's pure nonsense. There are certain players that can't handle Tortorella, but most of the guys absolutely love him. The problem with him, and I think the problem with Philadelphia, as we were mentioned before, is he is going to tick off a lot of people.
Thin skins and people that aren't going to be able to hear the truth about their beloved players.
Does the Philadelphia Flyers brass sound like a bunch of people that can handle criticism to you?
No, and neither do the fans. And the fans aren't going to be able to handle the criticism either. They're gonna hear that their players like Frost and Sanheim are really not that good.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I'm sorry, but the truth is,
that's right. Yeah. No, Frost is not going to play much under.
I'm going to tell you.
Tell you right now. Frost is not going to play much under Tortorella.
No, I don't think Sanheim is neither. And if Provorov doesn't get his head screwed on, he ain't going to be playing much neither.
I think Provorov is going to benefit a lot more than Tortorella.
I hope so because, man, he needs to get his head screwed on and he needs to be put in the right. See, that is the whole other situation because You need a coach to come in there and bring in a system. And you don't just hold players accountable, but you need to bring in a system that not only is a system for the players on the Philadelphia Flyers, but you need that system to then trickle down to the AHL and the Phantoms. And they need to be playing, and those coaches need to be coaching the same system that they're coaching up at the big club, because there's a serious disconnect there too.
I personally believe if Philadelphia is going to sell this right now, then this is the part I find hard to believe that they're going to do. And finally, somebody would do this. They need to commit to what the Tortorella belief and just stick with it. I think if some team did that, then you could do something here. But here's the thing: and there's I got a fourth one. You mentioned another one. I had a third one. There's one thing that Tortorella does as good, if not better than, I'd say as good as any coach out there. And actually, a great quote by Tortorella. He said, "People think I'm an angry coach. That's not true. The only time I'm angry at my players is when they don't believe in themselves."
Like I said, I have never doubted that he is a good coach.
But what I mean by that is something that this team could use.
Yeah.
Is some like Provorov. Provorov's got all the talent of him. Provorov didn't just stop being a good defenseman all of a sudden overnight.
Right.
The guy's just not believing in himself. There's confidence issues, something like that nature.
That's part of it. That's exactly part of it.
He's got all the talent. The talent never stopped. He's still a great defenseman. No doubt about that. Physically, all the attributes of a great defenseman.
He's been played out of position. He's been played in the, you know what I mean? He's been playing way too much for what the kind of player that he should be used for. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean. That's what I mean by putting a system in place that allows these players to develop, because Philadelphia has none of that. They have none of it. Right. And so you're talking about bringing in this guy, and you want to. So now this system has to be put into place. Right. And we're halfway through June. I mean, maybe it's me.
This is a process, man. It's going to be, if they don't understand that this is a process, then you forget about it. This is a process for sure. One thing Tortorella, I'm sure, is going to say, like you said, he's a Stanley Cup champion coach. He did that with the team that the general manager of that team, the Tampa Bay Lightning up to the time, was Jay Feaster.
Yeah.
Said before the season started, they asked him, "Do you think you're a cup contender this year?" He said, "No, I think we're a couple pieces away, but we're going to give it our best shot." And they won a cup, okay, with Tortorella. But he has seen drafting and developing at its best in Columbus, especially. I think he knows what drafting and developing players looks like. And I think the first thing that's going to happen here in Philly is he's going to say, "You need a whole new drafting development system." And I don't know how they're going to handle that. Like, if you bring in a guy like Tortorella, you're bringing in a guy to run the team. You're just going to do what he tells you to do. That's what I think. He's 60-some years old. Do you think he's going to listen to you now? No, he's not. It's not like he ever did it before. So why do you think at 60 years old he's going to start? So if you're not hiring him to basically run the team and then you do what he says, this is going to be an absolute disaster, I think.
And I'm just gonna sit back and roll around in it. Because that's what's gonna look. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm making my prediction. Okay. I honestly I don't get any of the warm fuzzies with any of this. Not at all, man.
I see a very possible, just absolute powder keg.
I mean, come December, I'm really thinking that December we're going to get coal in our stockings in December in Philadelphia, because I think certain management positions are going to be replaced.
Well, yeah, maybe. And I mean, if they're going to listen to Tortorella, like I would hope that in his interview process, he's going to say, if you're hiring me now, you're not telling me what to do here. I've won a cup. I did this. So I would hope. Yeah. They
Actually,
might have thought it was
if
a good
I was
idea
him,
at the time.
yeah.
They
If
might have
I
thought it
was
was
him,
a good idea at the time until they actually have to do it.
you know, if I was him, I'd have said, look, if you're going to hire me, you can't fire your general manager during the season.
Yeah.
Because I really feel that's on the horizon. Because, okay, so now we've given multiple reasons why we think this could be good. And I think we've interjected a few reasons why we think it could fail. Do you know what I mean? Why we feel this could also be a bad thing for the Flyers to have Tortorella as the coach here. You know what I mean? So what does that mean now for the 5th overall pick in the draft? Now, what does that mean for Danny Briere? Where does Danny Briere stand in this whole peg?
Well, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Danny Briere is saying that to, Chuck Fletcher and the upper management, like, look, I've been around here long now. You've groomed me. I see what's going on. I really think you need somebody to go in and be there and listen to what they say. You definitely don't need a Mike Yo who's just basically doing what he's told, and every other coach that they've had up until that point. Why did they hire Hackstall? Hackstall's going to be a great coach, I believe. But they hired Hackstall because they didn't want a guy that was going to push them around. What's Hackstall? How's Hackstall going to push an organization around? He just came out of college coaching, right? Like do you think he has, it's just not something that a new coach like that is going to do. And this organization needs to be pushed around. And
they
be
do.
okay with that and allow that to happen and go, you know what? We've sucked for 15 years. We're going to now give it to someone who's had serious success. We're going to shut our trap and we're going to let him take the wheel because we obviously have not been good. That would be a brilliant move to do. Some of the most intelligent people know that when they need someone to tell them what to do. Intelligent people know that.
See, that's why I have to agree with you, man, 100%. You got to have that. You got to have that. And I don't think that ownership right now currently has that.
I don't see it. And
I don't either.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
That's why it's a weird signing. They're sitting there going, okay, we're going to do this. Really? 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 Do you think Bobby Clark is going to be told what to do? Really? 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 Like, I don't see it, dude. I'll be amazed if it happens. And if it happens, this just may work. In the long run, it may work. But if you ask me to put like a percentage on it,
I can't see. It's hard for me to see Fletcher and Tortorella seeing eye to eye on things.
I don't think Fletcher is really much of a problem. Fletcher is, I'll do whatever I told you, General. You tell me to do, General Manager.
Yeah, but see, I'm not a fan of Fletcher, to be honest with you. I am not a fan of what he's done and how he has basically turned this team into Minnesota too.
Well, if you're not a fan of Fletcher, you're not a fan of what the organization above him is telling him what to do. Because Fletcher is just a puppet.
You catch on quick, Grasshopper.
And he was a puppet in Minnesota. He was told, go get some guys and make this team as good as possible. And I want you to do it this way. And I need a guy that's willing to do that. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I can do it. Of course he can.
Why do you think they said and made it known public that there was a blank check for the next coach?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Look.
They made it public because they want the public to think that they're doing everything they can.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Now,
they're making it look like we'll spend any money. We'll hire any money. We'll waive any money in front of anybody. Blah, 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 blah. Look, money doesn't buy you cups.
Right. But like I said, I think it would work. I think it could work if they just shut their trap. But no matter what they do, they got to do that. Really. Yeah. Even if you hired Quinn as your coach to rebuild, you still got to. What's the use to have Kyrie Quinn to rebuild if you don't change the draft and development system in Philadelphia?
Because that has to be the first thing.
That's the first thing that has to go.
That has to be.
And if there's one good thing that could come out of this is Tortorella tells them, like, your draft and development is horrible. You've got guys like Morgan Frost who haven't gained a freaking pound in I don't know how long. Like, these guys, I've seen guys that have been physically ready. These guys are not getting physically ready to play. You need a whole new nutritionist. You need everything all new here. And are they going to, like, tell their buddies that they got to go? And I just don't see it happening, man.
I mean, the medical staff is now suing. Is now suing the Flyers because they were exposed to this chemical that was coming out of the Zambonis, right? So their main medical guys are suing the team. So they really do, and I really believe, and Lance and I have talked about this on numerous shows, about the fact that the medical staff needs to be redone. Like this organization needs to do a house cleaning.
This has been, so before you go, I don't know much about the medical staff or anything, but I am positive that this is all of their buddies. This is the buddy organization.
We talked about this too. The nepotism is running rampantly deep.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's so deep.
Well, Joel Farabee's 22 years old now.
Yeah.
And he's still only 164 pounds. Are you okay? They can say, well, he has a hard time putting on weight. Okay, Frost. How many guys have come up in this organization that haven't put on the pounds? You think all of those guys are just genetically not able to gain weight, and you couldn't figure this out when you drafted them? There's a problem here, boys and girls. There's a freaking problem. Farabee should be pushing 190 right now.
Easy.
185.
Easily, he should be. Yeah, dude, look, that's what I'm talking about. This team needs to be completely gutted. Right? You need development, you need coaching, you need ownership, you need medical staff, you need analysts, nutrition, weight staff, physical trainers, because we even talked about this on one of the shows too, where how many players have groin injuries and constantly having groin injuries and then reoccurring groin injuries and then core muscles reoccurring. Now, I don't see that on any other team.
And not only that, it's quite obvious that they're not very good at conditioning their athletes to be able to not get injured. So what do? They go trade for players that have a history of injuries. Because we're going to solve a problem. We can't even solve it in our own organization with people. Ellis, you're going to solve Ellis' problems, are you? Hayes had a history of injuries when he came in, and he's
and
Hasn't gotten any
Ellis,
better.
and Ellis.
Yeah, I just said Ellis. Yeah.
I mean, so you continually say that, well, Chuck Fletcher could do it, but yeah, I keep seeing points that he's failed. And why he still has a job, I don't understand. Why the reason why he still has a job is because the ownership of the team doesn't feel he's doing a bad job.
Oh, they can't admit that they're wrong.
That's right.
Especially this quickly.
Especially this quickly. I mean, how long did AV last?
Yeah.
How long did he last?
I don't know. What was it? 3 years? 3 years?
Maybe 2.5.
Yeah. But a general manager, I mean, when they hired him, we had the discussion about it. I'm like, what did he do good in Minnesota?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Garen just is cleaning up that mess all over the place right now.
And look at where Minnesota is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be relevant for about 4 years because he did the right thing and removed Parise and Suter, so they are out of it was just they didn't fit in there.
Exactly,
anymore.
And they were horrible contracts too.
And it was a tough pill to swallow to 14 million on your cap for the next 5 years, and that was the right move to do that.
It was.
And it was it's a terrible tragedy that that's a right move. Who gave him those contracts? Chuck Fletcher.
What was he doing? What's he been doing in Philadelphia? Handing them out like bloody candy.
Oh, that's Ristolainen contract.
Dude, I didn't even have to say anything.
Oh my gosh. The trade to
we had the great Jim Jackson on the show with the great Isaiah. Right?
Oh, nice.
Dude, yeah. I'm sitting in between Isaiah and Jim Jackson, right? Now, we already know where Isaiah stands on the whole Ristolainen thing. And then Jim comes in and dude, look, I get it because he was talking about what Keith Jones was saying. That, man, Keith Jones was like, you got to get him in orange and black. You got to get him in orange and black, man. He's just this is what this team needs. Now, I've seen enough Flyers games with Ristolainen to know that at the beginning of the game and during the warm-ups, he patrols the center line. And anybody that decides to cross over that center line gets a complete dressing down from Mr. Ristolainen. So this year, that stopped. Nobody crossed over that center line to come over and bug anybody on the Flyers this year, especially with him sitting there on one knee. Okay. Now, is that worth the amount of money that you paid him? That's kind of what it boils down to. Okay.
He's doing on the ice.
His analytics are so far off the charts. He's such a negative player that none of that stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time seeing the benefits of having this guy on the team. I was all for him coming in. I was not for the Flyers giving up a number 1 draft pick for him.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought, okay, Ristolainen, he was a first-round draft pick. He played a really crappy team in Buffalo. He's a pretty big dude. He's got some skills. He's had some offensive talent. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Look, he might excel under Tortorella. He might be used in the spot where he should be used. Because I think if he is used in the spot where he should be used, third line, second pairing, second or third pairing.
5-6 spot. Yeah.
Okay, right? You got me, right?
I think Tortorella actually, I will say, I think Tortorella could get something out of Ristolainen. I think so. But, I mean, it's going to be a war because there's, places where he pinches and stuff like that. People are, I don't know what the other coaches are, but I doubt they did this, what Tortorella's going to do. Tortorella's going to flat out bring him in the office and say, this, and this is going to stop. And every time you do it, I'm going to tell you you're doing it in the dressing room, in public, in front of people, all like you. So you better, if you're easily hurt by words, this is not going to be good for you because we got to get this cleaned up now. How old are you? 27 years old, and you still don't know how to pinch in the NHL. You don't know when to pinch. You don't know when to hit. We're going to have you block, because since you're not very good at possession, we're going to have the whole team shoot pucks until you can block shots so well that it makes up somewhat for your lack of defensive possession. And that's what he does with players. He doesn't like say, okay, you're not getting possession. I can deal with that, but you better learn how to block shots like freaking mad. If you're not going to be a possession player, you better be able to block shots as good as anyone in the NHL. And he'll just keep on whipping freaking shots at you until you got it.
Or something. You better. Can you contribute? Can you please contribute something to the team?
In the right spots a little more. You don't have to chase the guy all the way down in the corner and the puck's way by the blue line and you're hitting the guy. Where are you now? No, you know what I mean? Like that's
you're so far out of position now, and
it doesn't matter that you hit the guy.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't.
The guy's gonna wait there and go like, if I'm the opposition coach, say if you see Ristolainen coming, just make sure you take the hit to get him out of position.
I mean, seriously, all you have to do is watch the tape.
Yeah. And you can move out of the way in the last second if Ristolainen is coming at you, because you know he's coming.
Or even it doesn't matter if you're about the same size as him. You're like, yeah, bring it. I'll take the hit. I'll be more than happy to dish one out and put him down.
There's not too many guys that are his size.
I agree, but you know what I'm saying.
He will hurt you if you hit. He will hurt you.
No, I agree. No, I agree.
He reminds me, and the great Projo. Call him Professor for a reason. Him and I agree that the best I think he could possibly be is what Branson is now in Calgary. And if maybe they can get him to that point. Still not worth $5 million a year. But
so there you go.
But at least you got
at least a viable player to have on the team, though. You know what I mean?
He's not hurting you.
Exactly. He's not costing us.
Was just like him coming up.
I know.
Same thing.
I know.
Same thing.
Now, see, that's the thing, right? So that's all the things that everybody feels that Tortorella is going to be able to do for this team. But once you weed out all of those players, which, let's face it, there's a lot of players on the team that are probably going to be weeded out. I mean, it's like in 1984 or 1983 or whatever, when what's his face when Mike Ditka went to the Bears to coach the Bears, and his first year there, and he said, we're going to win the Super Bowl, and he said, about 60% of you guys ain't going to be here. Right? In his first meeting, comes right out and says it. Look, we're going for the Super Bowl, and about 60% of you guys ain't going to be here. So let's get to work.
That's an amazing way that's a great way to say it. Yeah. Like, so the competition is in there. I love that.
I know. See, that's exactly what this team needs, and then they need somebody who has the cojones to back it up, and that's why I'm trying to say that this team, in my opinion, needs to seriously stink for the next couple years to get those draft picks, and do a Pittsburgh. Seriously, they need to do a Pittsburgh, especially the next 2 years, because if you look at the next 2 years after this coming draft, you got Seattle with, oh my gosh, almost 12 or 13 first and second round picks in the next 2 years.
Well, Seattle, I mean, there's other teams. Arizona's got a crap load, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And not only that, there's going to be a big competition because I think Boston's close to being on a rebuild. They're keeping quiet about it. Chicago's in it. Like Chicago's in there now. There's a lot of teams already in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I like
Islanders
personally,
probably going to have some of that too.
If it's me, I know they waited a long time to get a guy, but I'm trading Carter Hart. I'm trading Konechny. I'm trading Hayes if I can. Couturier. I'm trading them all. I'm burning it down, dude. And I would have hired Quinn because I love what he did for the New York Rangers there. I'm firing all the and rehiring, finding one guy I really trust for draft and development. And I might even hire somebody to tell me who I should trust for draft and development because obviously I wasn't very good at it. Right? Seriously, like find somebody that has had success in draft and development in the modern age. Hire them, give them a crap load of money, and say, "Go hire your staff.
And
We're
go
redoing
take care
this.
of things for me."
We're starting a new Philadelphia Flyers philosophy. Everything. Yeah,
There's a guy like that. I think there's a guy like that would be a perfect, I think, general manager for Philadelphia. He's the assistant general manager right now for Carolina.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
he's actually a Philadelphia guy. He went for like mechanical or scientific engineering or genetic engineering or some crazy super science degree is what he has, and he started doing this on the side, and he got hired as the assistant general manager in Carolina. And look at how well Carolina has drafted and put together that team in the last couple of years. Dude, bring that guy in and pay him a crap load of money. Be like, here, be the guy that takes care of, be the draft guru. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, but I don't think it would happen, and this is why.
No, I know.
Because it's a great thought. But Dondon hired these guys, and like Waddell, the general manager, he is the lowest paid general manager in the league by a long shot.
Oh, no, I know.
They have a philosophy there that if you sign on here, I will take care of you for life.
So you're not going to get paid a lot.
I will take care of you for life.
Exactly.
But you're going to get paid for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And
so
I don't know why more general managers don't do, and it is happening out there with players, right? Like Pat Maroon in Tampa Bay has worked out a deal.
Yeah.
The guy's getting paid $1 billion a year. He could be making three and a half somewhere else.
Easy.
You can be sure as heck when he retires, there is Tampa Bay Lightning promotions consultant for $1 billion a year for the rest of your life.
I mean,
something like that.
Yeah, one of the secret board members or something, whatever, what I'm saying.
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it, exactly. So, man, I'll tell you what. I think Lance would be extremely proud that he had some pretty big shoes to fill. And Pearlo, man, dude, it's always a pleasure talking to you about hockey, especially when we talk about the team that we love. And this is why I asked you to be on here, because I knew this was going to be about the timing for this. Okay, for the coaching announcements and all this other stuff. And I pretty much kind of had a feeling it was either going to be Tortorella or Tocchet. Okay. Yeah. I really felt that they were going to be like, "Oh, Rick Tocchet. Oh, welcome back, son. Oh, you'll be the savior." Like, I thought that was going to be the thing. I was wrong.
I understand why you thought that, but I thought I was getting to the point where I knew that they are so slaves to the public and their sponsors that it had got to the point where the fans, general fans, did not want that, and they knew it.
Dude,
I think that's why.
I'm gonna tell you something right now, okay? If if this team doesn't do things the way they should be doing, there's not going to be anybody sitting there in the seats, and it's not going to matter who's coach. It's not going to matter who's playing because there ain't going to be anybody there to watch.
Well, and for the very thing that I just said is why I think it's more than likely that this is going to be a powder keg.
Yeah.
Because if they are worried about the fans and their sponsors, they are not going to like Tortorella very, very quickly.
Nope. And some things are going to be said, and sponsors are going to be disappearing. And once that happens, that 4-year contract is going to look real short.
Well, he still gets paid. That's what I mean about the 4-year contract. They can fire him and he gets paid for the next 4 years. So.
It doesn't matter. So what? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's the way a contract is when you do it with the coaches. It's ironclad. It doesn't matter if you fire them or not. They get paid. It's a contract. So that's why they said that it's like getting an 8-year or 2-year contract.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
$8 million a year, 2-year contract. They might as well have given him that because that's if he lasts 2 years. If I just don't believe that the upper brass has anywhere near thick enough skin, and because it's sponsors, they praise their media, and their media praises them, and they have their little love-ins, and then you got Tortorella telling them to go stick it in their hat. How long is that going to last for? Have you not watched what Tortorella has done for the last how many years? I mean,
have you seen what he said on ESPN and The Point and all the shows that he's been on just since he's not been coaching?
Well, yeah, and actually, like he says some stuff that, like for instance, okay, we got to get going here, I know, but what he said about Zegras, right? I don't agree with that, but I do agree with it at the same time, because his philosophy is you're never going to do that. His philosophy is we want to play in the regular season exactly the way we're going to play in the playoffs. And you aren't doing that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's no way that you're doing a spin around move like that in the playoffs. So you don't do it now. I love to watch it, everything. I could be wrong about what Tortorella, it might be wrong, but I don't know. I've had to think back and forth on that. What he said about McDavid was true. McDavid has, no matter what it is, it's not his job to whether the referees are, and it's true, the Crosby had to go through this, McDavid is going through it. It's true that there's calls that should have been called on all of them, but it's not your job to worry about that. Your job is to play through anything, shut your mouth and be the best you can be in those situations. Because the more you yap at those refs, the more it's going to happen. What he said was absolutely right. And it wasn't taken well by the media and people and stuff like that, but it was right. And you know what? McDavid called him. You can be assured, because he stopped. If you notice, McDavid changed after that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He called Tortorella and said, "What do you mean by that?" Because McDavid's the guy that's going to learn from everybody. And he said, "What do you mean by that?"
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so that's what you're getting with Tortorella. I just don't think that they're going to be able to handle it.
I'm expecting around December, the 20-game mark.
You think it's going to be that fast? Tortorella's gone?
No. See, I don't think it's going to be Tortorella that's going to be gone. I think it's going to be other people gone at that point. At something, somehow, some way is going to happen in December in Philadelphia, and it's probably not going to be good.
I don't know. I think Philadelphia is going to be in the playoff hunt with Tortorella. I do believe that they're going to be in.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I can hope for the best, but whether or not that happens is a completely different situation.
Is that the best though? Again, like we said, I said they're going to be in the playoff hunt. I didn't say they're going to be a contender. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want what I want that passion that Ed Snyder brought. I want that guy who's trying to do anything and everything he can to try to win a cup. And if that means going out and hiring somebody that knows more about hockey that can advise you in different ways, then you need to go out and hire that person. That's not what this organization has right now. That's not the philosophy that they're following right now.
Look at
Okay.
look at Tampa Bay and Colorado. Okay.
All you have to do is look at them.
Those teams were built around two-way forwards that can play at a high pace. Structure, and they were built. Both of them were built from the ground up.
And they were all above 5'8".
Colorado's not the overly big team. They're not overly nasty.
Their average size is 6'1".
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. But they're not overly
pounds,
nasty.
6'1" for their forwards. Or no, for their forwards, their average is 6'3" or 6'2", like 218, and then for their defense is a little bit smaller at 6'1", 208 pounds is their average for Colorado, right?
But the thing about Colorado is they're fast and they play both ends very, very well.
And they play both ends.
And they were built from the ball.
And there you have it.
All right.
Well, as the great Pearlo says, this is our full 54. Yeah, well, full 42.
42.
Full 42.
I only got 42 to give.
There you go.
It's 100% of the 42.
It's 100% of all 42. So
two that I have.
And we got to enjoy some firsthand frolic from the great Pearlo Wisdom, sitting in for the great writer extraordinaire Lance Green. Pearlo, thank you very much. Yeah, man. Also, big thanks from Lance, thanking you. Messages from Lance while he's on vacation, saying to please thank Pearlo for sitting in and doing the show. You got it. So why don't you tell the folks where we can find you and where we can get all your great stuff, man?
Oh, you got Pearlo Wisdom. Just search that up in YouTube. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. You might find me with that moniker. And I'm doing some trade. I do a lot of trade stuff. I love trades and seeing what the value of players are. Like right now, I just did Kako. We did
that was a good one.
Trade.
That was a good one.
We did. I'm getting into free agency now. I'm probably going to do some free agency videos. And we'll be talking about the draft and all kinds of stuff. And like I said, I do analysts for Peyton on the radio when the live streams are going on, and on with John from Off the Wall Hockey. Both are just legends, amazing play-by-play guys. When I say an analyst, I just basically sit there and every once in a while they shut up and I say some stuff. But
yeah, right.
Those guys are amazing.
Yeah, they are. And, they really are. I love those guys.
Yeah. So and you can find me at Pearlo's NHL POW. So you can catch me on Twitter on that. And also, just for the heck of it, can I throw in a little bit of our music stuff with Pearlo?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. The All Genre Music Fest.
Yeah, if you're a music fan, we got the All Genre Music Fest we're starting out right now. We're going to be doing some great content with some great bands, and we're talking about every genre of music and our favorites and why and who is the best and who's the greatest and all those sort of things like that. We just did a Motown one, which is pretty cool.
Motown, yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that too. So check that out.
Oh, man, there you go. Awesome sauce, man. Well, thank you to the great Pearlo for stepping in and being part of this. The Hockey Writers Inc. would like to send out a big Hockey Writers Inc. salute to the FlyersNittyGritty.com for all of your support. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate all the support you guys do and everything you guys do to help us get posted out on the websites. Thank you to the great Lance Green, who is out on vacation right now. We'll see him back next time on the show for the Hockey Writers Inc. I'm SteelFlyers, your co-host. You can catch me on the web at www.steelflyers.com, and you can also check me out on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you on the next Hockey Writers Inc.